these implementations, especially around ERP and EPM, tend to be significant investments for customers. Are you finding that due to this new found role with AI that the decision making needs to be at a higher level to bring everybody together from the beginning, or can they start in a specific department or use case rather than having to go all at once or at a higher level in the organization?
So our advice always is, it's great to think big, but often start small. Create a small, visible piece of success, and then get people to see that success, get people to buy into it. So people have, long memories. They have these transformation nightmares, and they say, yeah, this is what I heard 10 years ago, and fundamentally it didn't change anything. So you need to convince people sometimes why this is actually going to have a different level of impact than what we talked about 5 or 10 years ago. So we tell people, for example, in the EPM context, to make it real, we say, hey, get started with insights. Insights are a very nice on-ramp into the big, scary world of AI, right? Because insights, we're not forecasting anything with insights. All we're doing is looking at data, looking for patterns, and telling you some interesting things, a variance, an anomaly, or an outlier, or a bias, or something like that. And that's something you could have found on your own, but it just takes more time and manual effort to find that insight. And then, as they see value there, I can slowly introduce you to maybe doing a few predictions using these prediction models. And those predictions may be initially very simple predictions using just time series data, right? Hey, here's how I can take into account seasonality in your expenses or seasonality in your revenues. And if I start to understand that, okay, this model is doing a nice job of factoring in seasonality, which was a hard thing for me to do manually. And it's also looking at 3 or 5 years worth of history as opposed to just the last quarter or the last year. Then they start to see value. So you go from insights to simple forecasts or predictions using time series data to more complex forecasts and predictions. And then perhaps you go into a process that's very important for your company, like cash forecasting. And if I can apply predictions in the context of cash forecasting, you see a different level of value. So there's scope for progressive expansion. And as you progressively expand the scope, you're bringing more people into the fold in terms of users. I think that's a typical winning formula for most customers. Some may be able to do big bang projects because they have the sponsorship and they have the expertise. And keep in mind, you have to get buy-in from people, you have to get adoption, and you have to get people to acquire these skill sets.
Right.
The good news is we have a lot of adoption today. 3 years ago we were talking about this and it was conceptually appealing to people. People said, yeah, but not for me, not yet, kind of thing. We have doubled the number of customers that are working with AI in the past 12 months.